Right, boom, we're on. Squeeze the Neck podcast, another episode. Today I'm down in Hastings. I got with me Stephen or Steve Hillbilly. Tell me your nickname, I fucked it up already.
It's all good. Steve the Hillbilly Hammer Hill.
The Hillbilly Hammer Hill.
It's a mouthful.
Blinding nickname. I had it all planned before this come on and I fucked it up because we were chatting too much. But thanks a lot for doing this,
worries,
mate. I
mate.
really
No worries.
appreciate it.
No worries.
And we're in Raw Performance Gym today, is that right?
That's it, mate.
Perfect. So take us back slightly before, because I've got loads of questions for you. You've got a fight coming up, we'll get into all of it. I'm mumbling a bit at the start of this one, but take us back to your background of martial arts, mate. Did you have a background in boxing or something specific? What's led you to MMA?
So when I was really little, my stepdad took me to a kickboxing gym. I was about 6 or 7. Did that for a little while, maybe a year, and that fizzled out. Then it was football. I loved football, obsessed with football.
Who's your team? Because we get into this a lot on here.
Oh, Tottenham.
Oh, mate, fucking hell, never mind.
Yeah. You know one of the things where you're sort of stuck with them and you feel loyal to them. And,
yeah, I gotcha.
They break my heart every year. And then I played football from 6, 7 till I was non-stop, till I was 12, 13. And then I had a pair of boxing gloves, cheap pair of boxing gloves from Argos. And where this little estate I lived in, I'd bring them out and me and my pal, we'd have one, I'd have one. And it just started from there. And then one of my friends was actually a boxer on the estate, and he's not with us now, he's passed now, bless him. But he said, why don't you come to the local gym, Kennedy's boxing gym? And I was like, yeah, I love that. And I walk in there and I never forget the smell of this like sweat, old sawdusty boxing gym. And I was just hooked. I went in there, I think I was around 12. I was around 12 because I just started secondary school. And I'll never forget it, I was the youngest in the class. It was just full of men, like tough men. I was like, oh, this is great. And fell in love with boxing. I would have ate, sleep, shit, everything boxing. If someone goes, eat that shit stick, it'll make you better, I would have believed them. I was so naive.
Did you ever do the piss drinking thing back in the day? Because that was a thing.
No,
never got that far.
No, never got that far. Thankfully, no one told me about that because I probably would have done it with such a div. I used to drink more eggs though when I was a kid because of Rocky.
Yep, same here, mate. Join the club.
Oh, silly boy. And so what happened was we was boxing there for about a year, and the place just got ABA affiliated, so you could just fight other ABAs. And all of a sudden, I'm walking down to the gym one day, and the gym's shut. Big bit of paper on the door. Bang, shut. That was it. Council have repossessed it or whatever. I found out a couple months later the owner, I won't mention any names, but he wasn't paying the rent.
Yeah, there you go.
And they don't like that, funny enough. So there was one more club left, and this club was like legendary in this little town, Hastings West Hill. I don't know how old it was. I think it was going in the 1950s. I've been told. Anyway, walk up there, and then it's a real thing up there. You've got people in there who were Golden Glove champs at the time, schoolboy champs. I was like, oh, this is real deal now. And then I think within 6 months there, I think I got carded, and I had my first bout about 13 years old. And then, it just went from there. What happened with boxing was, it broke my heart a little bit because you know what it's like. In the ABAs, I probably would have carried on with it, but the robberies were awful. And as a young kid, it sort of, so I know, it just puts a bad taste in your mouth about the whole thing. So I think I was around 16, 17, I was like, I'm out. Just the whole love for it went. And then I started lifting weights around 17, 18. Did that for 2 years, got way too big. Well, how big's too big? Oh, I was like 105.
Oh, wow, proper big,
my frame, yeah.
Okay.
Bit fluffy, but strong as heck. And then, so in this bodybuilding gymnasium, another like legendary one around here, there was like a jiu-jitsu thing in the back room in this big mats. And I had no idea what we're talking now. 11 years ago, 12 years ago, yeah. I had no idea. I thought it was some kung fu, karate, BS. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And
was this in the gi as well? I take
in the
it.
gi.
So back,
in the gi, and it was before no one did it, right? No one fucking did it. It weren't cool then.
Still weird at the time,
yeah,
I imagine.
What
yeah.
are you doing that? Anyway, so one day I'm in there, I'm lifting weights, and you've got to go past the weight bit to get to the mat bit. And one of my pals walked past, I knew from way back, and he was like, "You got to give this a go, Steve. This bit of you." I think he was a white or a blue belt at the time. Could have been a blue belt. No, it's not for me. And that went on for a couple of months. Until one day, he dragged me in there and I tried it. And I was thinking, I'm just gonna fuck these guys up. These They don't know what this is some wizardry, kung fu, gay shit. I remember being just thrown, it felt like I was in a wash machine, just like thrown around, couldn't do what, some little lad did it to me, some 60 kilo lad, I was like, right. And it either does two things, doesn't it, jiu-jitsu? It either like you want to come back and you've got to learn it, or it just like you run away and hide from it and pretend it never happened. Yeah. And for me, I was like, oh my God, I thought I was a bit of the man back then. Oh, I can scrap, yeah. No, you ain't got no idea. So yeah, that's where it all started for me. I did it there maybe a month, then they moved to the seafront. I followed them to the seafront and they moved again. And then 2 years deep, maybe, 2.5, I got my blue belt. I really wanted to dip my toe back in some striking, but I didn't want to go back to boxing. And I knew about MMA, but I was like, oh, I don't really know if it's for me or not. I thought it was pretty barbaric. Little did I know, it's like, you've actually got to be so skillful, it's unreal. I kept asking my coach there, because he did a bit of MMA before, to an okay-ish level, and I kept asking, pestering him, I want to fight MMA, I want to fight MMA. No one was fighting MMA at the time in there, it was just all jiu-jitsu. And I think I waited about a year, nothing happened. Went to Eastbourne, there was a local MMA gym there. And the guy was like, listen, if you give me 10 weeks, you turn up here every day. He goes, I see people here every day that want to fight, and then I don't see them next week. He goes, you give me 10 weeks, you come here every day, and I'll tell you what, he made me go there every day. And I was like, even on a Sunday, he was like, you come on a Sunday, and for 10 weeks.
Oh, so every day,
every day?
Oh, wow.
Every day. Some days we're doing twice, and then I was labouring during the day. I trained before labour, got back. It's hardcore, especially back then when you were a beginner MMA guy.
But you're already training like a pro, basically.
Yeah.
As a beginner.
Yeah.
And where is this gym?
This gym was in Eastbourne.
What was the gym called?
It was called Sparta then.
I know, Donny. Is it Donny down there?
No, it was Adam and Banksy then.
Okay.
I don't think Adam's even in the country anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, he's left. Donny's running it now in Bexhill, but I think it's DD MMA. I'm not sure.
No, it's still Sparta, because shout out Donny. We met. I saw him recently at Fusion MMA. I didn't know him, but we got chatting and whatever, and I think we know people, and you know how it goes. And he's talking about coming on, so I'm trying to get Donny on.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Donny was a year below me in school, and he was a really good football player. That's how I knew Donny. So I knew when I went to Sparta in Eastbourne, Donny wasn't about for a little bit, and then just towards the end of my camp, he started coming back and training again, and it was good to have him around at the time. But it was fucking so different back then. I mean, mate, it was just so like there weren't any room there. It was just packed. Classes were packed. It was fucking cool and a bit ruthless, a bit barbaric at sometimes. Like
just meet up with a pair of gloves and punch each other's head off for an hour. Type.
Oh, a little bit worse, mate.
Oh, right.
A little bit worse. Like, yeah, but it was good. It was good character building, and I couldn't keep. So I had 2 young babies at the time, and I couldn't keep. I was getting back from Eastbourne about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night some nights.
Where's Eastbourne from me? How far is Eastbourne from me?
20 minutes, half hour.
Oh, okay, it's relatively, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but say you miss one train or whatever, you finish training at 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. And so I finished that camp, and then I just said to him, look, I'll come over and train when I can. And I thought, that's done for me for MMA, because I weren't driving at the time and I couldn't get over there. So I just went back to jiu-jitsu, and I was doing jiu-jitsu maybe 6 months, and I was like, I want to get back in there again, you know what I mean? I got the little buzz for it. I won my first fight in Colchester in round 1, and then just a bit of buzz for it after that. Come back to Hastings. Someone said to me, this place right here actually was called Fighting Tigers back then, not Raw, it was a different owner. And someone was telling me there was MMA here with Ollie Thompson, and then the jiu-jitsu was with Tolly and Alex Salisbury. And I was like, do you know what, I'll see if that works. Went up there and just met the boys and that and loved it, and cracked on from there. A couple of months in, I had another fight in York Hall, and then I think in the end I had about 6 or 7 amateur fights. Won all of them, won a couple of titles, and then I wanted to keep on fighting amateur, to be honest with you, and I kept getting pull-outs. Fucking hell. But like, I mean, 2 days before, a week before.
What is that? Is that people knowing the name and sort of thinking
it's
not worth it as an amateur?
I don't know, man. I'm not.
Because you hear that, right? You hear like they want to wait till you're pro because it's not worth it when it's too much of a tough bout, so they want to wait till they're getting paid for it.
Yeah, maybe a bit of that, or they're a bit wet behind the ears. I don't know. I don't know, man. Everyone likes the idea of fighting MMA until it's like...
Till it's fight night.
Until it's fight night, innit? But yeah, no, and then, so someone said to me, Steve, you might as well just turn pro, mate, because you'll get a couple of £100 and they probably won't pull out because they're going to get paid to come.
What age are you at this point?
Oh, 24,
yeah.
25. I was turning pro pretty late, really. So I thought, yeah, sod it, go on then. I turned pro. 10 days later, I've got a fight on a local show in Brighton. And I was like, oh, you know, okay, cool, sweet. And they were like, yeah, the weight's 80 kilos though. I'll never forget that. I was 90 on the dot. 10 days, 10 kilos. I was like,
80, what's that about? That's a weird one, because that's like between divisions.
It was, yeah, it was like a catch weight.
Just a catch weight.
Catch weight, yeah. So done that, finished that fight in the first round. And then after that fight, not straight away, but maybe a month after, I got a bit lazy. And I was going out and I was training, but not like fight training. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I was mainly just grappling. And I'd done the odd comp here and there, but I had like 18 months out of the cage in the end. Almost 2 years, I think.
After your first one as a pro?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I wish I never had that little gap there, but I can't put it down on anything. I was just being a bit of a lazy sod, really. And then a good friend of mine, Arash, who lives near here, he was like a strong man. He sort of like relit the fire in me a little bit, to be honest. And then that was it. I was like, yeah, sod it, let's get back in. And I got back in, had one, had two, had three. And then, yeah, before I knew it, I was on holiday and I got a call from a manager saying, Bellator want to sign you. And I was just like, fuck, no way. I never thought it would, you know, little lad down here, coming from this little town, it would really happen like that. But
what's your record at this time? You was undefeated, and
I was undefeated. I only just lost, mate, in May, but I took the fight on like 6 days' notice. But I'm 7-1 now.
Now you are, yeah. Sorry, I know that. I mean, when you got to Bellator, you was
I was 5-0,
5-0,
or 4-0, something like that.
4-5-0, and mostly finishes. And what I thought was quite interesting about your record is you've got a mix of stoppages by submission and knockout, haven't you? Whereas a lot of people one or the other type thing. So
yeah, it's one or the other. I mean, I don't really know what one I favour, but
the one that works is the best one, I think.
Yeah, when the ref's pulling me off, really.
I think that'll do.
Yeah. I mean, I love a sub. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy at heart, but however I can do it, I'm going to do it.
If it works, it's right, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But what's the deal now? Because obviously you got the Bellator t-shirt on and you're in Bellator, but with PFL and Bellator, they've sort of merged. And what's the deal there?
Basically, I think PFL own the whole lot now.
Is it a bit like just the same but different name?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It's more. Long story short, yeah. And I think so. You know, PFL do the tournaments.
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah.
They do all of that and all the playoffs and things. And Bellator are doing this champion series at the moment. That's what I'm fighting on in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I think that goes for a year or two, and then I think they're gonna see where things are at, and then
whether the name sticks around.
Yeah, whether it sticks around or it just all becomes PFL, I don't really know, but. Yeah, PFL own the whole lot.
And what's the deal with that? Can you fight in PFL as well, or are you strictly Bellator at this point?
No, I think if Bellator want me on, PFL want me or need me, they can say, look, we've got this or that for you. So you can go on both. I did actually get offered a fight in Newcastle, but I was in Thailand. And I was way too heavy. So I was...
What's way too heavy?
I don't know.
Can we say on here or not? We'll leave that alone.
We're
Never mind.
10 plus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because you're a natural welterweight, you said, right? But you fought at middleweight as well.
Yeah.
And what's the future hold? Are you going up to middle, or are you going to stick with the welter?
I don't know, man. It bugs me not every day, but it bugs me most weeks because I'm an in-betweener.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And it's fucking hard getting down a welter. But
What's typical? If you're sort of training hard and you're in shape, you're eating well, living the life, but not cutting weight, would you sort of...
88.
Right, so 77's a tough sort.
Yeah, and that's me being good boy, do you know what I mean? So if I start getting a little bit lazy or going out or eating some shit, I'm 93 before I know it.
Right, is that right? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, some of these middleweights, they're 6'3" and they walk around at 100 kilo.
Yeah, some middleweights are like
they're huge.
Big.
I mean, I don't understand middleweight. I've been in a lift with like the middleweight champ, Johnny Eblin. He's my height, but he's like 2 of me. It's just weird. And then you get another middleweight, he's 6'6". Do you know what I mean? It's the middleweight is very, very unusual.
Well, even welterweights, you're around some welterweights that are big as well, aren't you? You get some 6'3" sort
freaks.
Of big
yeah,
framed
freaks.
welterweights.
All I find with the welterweights who are 6'3", 6'4", they've got no legs at all.
Right, okay.
They're super skinny and you look at their legs and there's no legs.
Yeah.
But we both know that don't mean shit if you've got no legs. You can still fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, fighting's one of the sports as well. Like, if you look at a tennis player, for instance, like you've got an idea of what their body's going to be in it. A fight can be all over the shop, can't it?
Yeah, very weird, mate. All different shapes and sizes.
So like you go to, I think his name was Darren Wynn. Do you remember him?
Darren Wynn, yeah, weird guy.
He was about 5'6", and he fought like light heavyweight when he started. And I think he got down to middleweight.
Got down to middleweight and missed middleweight 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. He was 5'6".
Yeah, and he was not cut by any means, was he? Shout out
he
Darren.
Yeah. He's a good fighter. I mean,
I mean, UFC guy, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
But he's shaped like a barrel, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Bless him. I mean, that was a fucking tough guy, but yeah.
But could have literally probably made 145 if he decided to, right? If he just said, fuck it, I'm going to get shred, he could have probably been a featherweight.
Yeah.
But if we go to your fight coming up, mate, when is the fight? Plug the fight date before we get into it.
The fight is September 14th in the OVO Wembley Arena.
Which is, Wembley Arena, right?
Bellator,
for anyone who doesn't know, which is the common name, but Bellator. And what's the opponent, mate?
The opponent is a guy, I'm probably going to butcher his name, Ross, I think it's Houston.
Okay.
Ross Houston. He was the Cage Warriors welterweight world champ at one point. He's only lost one, like myself. He's been out of the cage, I think, 2 or 3 years, but it's a tough test.
And is this fight a welterweight, is it?
It was meant to be at welterweight, yeah, but he asked if we could go up a little bit. Where I think he's been out of the cage for 2 or 3 years. I think he ain't cut for a while, so it's catchweight.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
just in the middle.
So that's good for you as well, right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
What is the weight? What's the limit?
It's 79.6, something like that. So
oh, right, a proper weird one.
yeah, it's like 80 kilo in it. It's like 4 grams of 80 kg, so.
I got you. So if you've got a fight coming up and you're at welterweight, how long before is it like switch on time for like a real camp for you?
For me, I used to do, well, this one's been 12. This will be my last 12-week camp, I think, because I don't really need it.
Are you training year round, I take it?
All the time now, yeah, all the time. But I'm going to probably start doing 10 weeks.
Okay.
I think 12's a bit much,
yeah.
if I'm honest. But I start peaking a bit early. So I'm like, oh, do you know what?
It's a lot on the body as well.
It's a lot on the body, and I've seen a lot of like world champs and that. They're doing 8-week camps, and I'm like,
Well, how true it is, you don't know, but Demetrius Johnson, one of the best of all time, apparently he does 6 weeks. He's in shape all year round, does like 6 weeks hard, has a taper week, and then
mate,
fights.
I wouldn't put it past him, mate. These are clever guys. I remember I was watching Faraz Hobby the other day, and he tells these new guys in Canada, some of these guys are like 4-0, 5-0, they're like national champs, they're in UFC or whatever, or local big promotions, and a lot of them train hard once a day, that's it. And I was shocked by that, because I've always come up with twice a day, 3 times a day. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Push. And now these kiddies are doing it once a day, but really, really hard. Maybe there's something to it. You know
I think there is something to that, because you know, when you fight, you want to be not sprinting, but you want to be able to push it. Don't
yeah,
you?
of course.
And I think the habit as well, sometimes, especially like being in boxing clubs and stuff, I'm sure you've experienced it, you do sort of 3-hour session sometimes.
Yeah, mate.
How long's the fight? Do you know what I mean? It's nowhere near that. So,
15 minutes if you're lucky.
Yeah, well, going back to Faraz Harbi, George St. Pierre was always saying, like, apparently when he used to train, like getting ready for a fight, he'd train, like he'd warm up obviously and do whatever he did after, but his session would be 5-minute rounds, continue, like in terms of like,
he wanted to know
how hard he could push himself for that.
25,
and it makes sense, doesn't it?
Funny enough, I listened to a podcast like that the other day and they're talking about him. He was trained really hard for 25 minutes. They're like, oh, I'm done. Some people might say, it's not enough, but how do you question it? He was like one of the greats.
I think it's time of years too. Like if you ain't got a fight coming up and you're at a camp to come in here, you might want to train for 2 or 3 hours because it's skill acquisition, isn't it? You know, it's a bit different. But when
and the training's different. There's no pressure.
Pace is way different.
Yeah, the pace is well different, and there's no pressure. You're almost just coming in there and having a bit of fun, almost by trying to get better. Do you know what I mean? I find it way easier. Sounds stupid. Training when there's no fight coming up. Yeah, because when there's a fight coming up, right, I'm sparring on these days, and I'm doing these days conditioning. It's rough, it's tough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So and there's pressure on as well.
Pressure in the fight, is there?
Yeah, it's always pressure, isn't there?
Yeah, no, of course, mate. But so, can you talk about your training camp? Do you mind telling us what you?
No, I don't mind at all.
So, like, if you've got, you said sort of 12, 10 weeks out, like, how's it structured over the time, mate? And what's sort of a typical week look like for you?
So I do 6 days a week, and I do 2 a days. Sometimes, if I'm feeling really fruity, I'll add another session in. But mainly, it's 2 a days, AM, PM. And I always do, this is how I like to do it anyway. I like to do all my striking in the morning, striking and conditioning in the morning, and I like to grapple at night. That's how I like to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because that's how you prefer it, is it?
That's how I prefer it. Like, I don't know. I do mix it up sometimes. Like tonight, I've struck this morning, I'm going to be doing MMA tonight, so I will be doing some sort of striking as well again tonight. But yeah, I like to strike in the morning. I like to get that out of the way, and grapple in the evening.
And do you do when you do a striking session? Is it just striking, or do you sometimes do a boxing session, sometimes do a Muay Thai session, etc.?
Yeah, like that. I mix it up.
Yeah.
Kickbox one day, box another, kicks in there. Even throw some wrestling in with it still.
Yeah.
But mainly it's striking heavy in the mornings, and I do pretty much conditioning every other day, I'd say.
And what's the conditioning look like?
Mate, sometimes we're hanging on what I actually do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're hanging on ropes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes we're doing one max deadlifts. Sometimes we're doing sprints. Sometimes it's. Do you know what I mean? It's very different day to day, sort of thing. And another day it'll be a hit, like a short 40-minute.
And do someone take care of that? Is it you don't think about this?
Yeah. And I have someone come in, and we'll just blitz it for 40 minutes or whatever. But sorry, mate, that's all right.
No, we're good. Mike's a top-notch man. Shout out, ankle work. But they, so as you progress in your camp, like over the 12 or 10 weeks, whatever you're doing nowadays, does it change in terms of your training? Do you get more MMA heavy, or do you still keep them separate? Do you still like to do the striking and grappling?
So I do my MMA twice or 3 times a week. When I do my sparring rounds, they're all MMA. I won't just spar, stand up or grappling. It'll be all MMA. And yeah. At the start of camp, it's loads of sparring, you know what I mean? Sparring pretty much every other day to get me sharpness and timing back. And then towards the end of camp, we're slowing down on the sparring. I'll still grapple all the way, full pelt, like I'll grapple all the way. I just stay out the way of the spazzes, do you know what I mean? And just like divert.
No 100-kilo white belts.
No, mate. No, to be honest with you, if you're over 90 kilos and you're a white belt, I don't mean in a bad way, but not in camp.
Not for me, yeah.
Yeah. I've had it before, man. 10 days out from a fight, and I've popped a toe where some white belts jumped on a toe of mine somehow, and I'm like, "How have you fucking done that?"
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, man. That's how we roll. I have one day off, and yeah, just I chill with my kids and that's it, and then I'm back in.
So how old are your kids, mate? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, no. My oldest is 13, and my youngest is. I better get this right and be in trouble. 8 months just.
Oh right, a new one. Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations,
yeah,
mate.
thanks,
Are the older ones into MMA and stuff, or martial arts?
Nah, my 11-year-old does jiu-jitsu. He does love MMA, but he really likes jiu-jitsu, yeah.
That's good, I think, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
You don't want to get him punched in the head too much.
Yeah, no, I try not to push him too much because you don't want him to I don't want to do it. No. So I just let him do his thing, and if he wants to come, he comes. But he loves it, yeah.
But at that age, it's good because he's actually learning, right? Like I covered a class, I don't know how long it was, a few months ago, and it was like, like a 7-year-olds to 10 class or whatever it was. Yeah. They don't give a fuck, do they? No, they don't listen. They just want to run around and, whatever.
I used to teach kids jiu-jitsu. I enjoyed it, but it's a
tough gig, isn't it?
It's a tough gig, man. I was doing it 4 times a week.
I covered it one Saturday, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, it's a tough gig doing the kids, but I enjoy it. It is good. It's very rewarding with the kids.
Yeah. So take us to your camp, mate. So sorry to keep going on about the training, but the week before the fight, do you have like a taper phase, or are you one of these lunatics that just trains?
No. 1 week before the fight, I taper right off.
Just a week though.
And it'd be like weight cut week. Yeah. Do
you have much to cut?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, right.
No,
depends.
Usually I'm all right. Usually about 5-6 kilo fight week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's
5 if we're flying.
Yeah. And then if you're a middleweight, is there not much of a cut at all?
Not really, no.
You're pretty.
No. If I'm fighting a middleweight, I'll leave it like, sounds bad, but I don't have to. I'll cut it last minute. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm 88, I can do 4 kilo in a sauna in an hour.
I was going to say that's an easy one.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no problem there.
But yeah, no, welterweight's a bit different. It takes a long time.
Yeah. Is it camp sort of a bit of a fat camp where you got to get it down? Not that you're a fat bloke, but do you know what I mean? Like, is it a concern?
It is, bruv. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm a foodie, so it is a bit hard, but we get it done.
Is what it is, isn't it?
It is,
at the end of the day, yeah. But so if you go forward, mate, you win your next fight. Let's assume, let's think positive and all that nice stuff. I'm sure you get the job done. What's the future? What are your goals in Bellator and stuff like that, mate?
Oh, mate, I'd love to get in the top 10 and get a ranking one day. That'd be nice. Little lad from a council estate getting a ranking. That'd be cool. And then obviously, challenge for that belt one day and win that belt.
And what do you reckon? How many fights away from that? Someone's got to win it.
Mate, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard to say because you never know what can happen. You could have 2 spectacular fights and then they're like, well, do you want to do this? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or you could have 3 or 4 okay-ish ones. So it's an hard one. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna take my time and keep getting better. And,
how do you feel in your body? Because you're 31 now, so do you still feel fresh and young?
I feel better now than I did 10 years ago.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know much about food or anything back then, and I was just like fucking training like a barbarian.
Yeah.
And drinking chocolate milkshakes and shit. You know what I mean? Eating
Drinking
McDonald's.
raw eggs, yeah.
Yeah, and raw eggs. I didn't know nothing about nutrition, so I feel better now.
Yeah. What is nutrition? Do you have a specific sort of diet, or are you just outsource it again?
No, I have a nutritionist. Charlie's name is. He's fucking top notch. Charlie's Nutrition. He gives me a plan. I follow the plan, and
is it sort of like, I'm assuming, you tell me, is it sort of carb loading and all that business, and then cut the carbs and whatnot, or is it a bit sort of new agey?
It's a bit new agey, I suppose. It's like, you wouldn't believe the stuff I'm eating. I'm eating loads.
Yep.
And loads of carbs and loads of protein, and I think it's going to change for me pretty soon. But yeah, no, it's brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Like I remember when I first started with him, I was like, fucking hell, are you sure? That's a bit much,
bit
isn't
too much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard people, I've chatted with people before, and they've said they're almost force feeding themselves. They can't even get it in sometimes, and they're supposed to be cutting weight.
I have to space it out a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm meant to have this for my breakfast, but I can't do it, so I have it at lunch, and then I have to space it out.
Oh, is that right? Are you on like 8 meals a day and all that craziness?
I don't know what I'm on now. 5, but I've got like loads of fruit and shit I've got to get through as well. Yeah.
That's cool, man. But I don't want to get you in trouble politically with the Bellator and whatever, but is UFC on your mind? Is UFC a thing one day?
Mate, you never know, like, my contract could end or they don't want me anymore. And if UFC come knocking, you would never say no, would you?
No,
you know
probably
what I mean?
not. Yeah.
So, but I do love Bellator, and I love the way, they brought me in, and I love the way they've looked after me and stuff. So I'd like to, do my thing there, really, but we'll see, you never know.
Yeah. Because your last one was your first loss, right? And your only loss as amateur or pro. Take us through that, mate. What was the situation? I watched the fight, obviously, when I knew I was coming to do this with you. And it seemed like a bit strange finish. It seemed like, you tell me, what went on there? Yeah,
it was weird. All props to Mike Shipman, good win.
Another English fella as well, right?
Yeah, so this is the honest truth of this story, right? So I weren't even training, really. I was training, I must have been in the gym twice that week prior. And we're sitting in Chelsea, having a few beers, me and my pal, and eating all the shit food we shouldn't be eating. And I was on like a Saturday or a Sunday. I get back into work Monday, and carry on eating shit. And I went out for a few drinks that week. weren't really training that well. And it gets to the Friday, 6 days before Bellator Paris. I get a message from one of the matchmakers. He's like, "How do you feel about Mike Shipman at 185 in 6 days?" I was like, "Oh fucking hell!" Mike Shipman's an absolute OG of the game, like a legend in MMA. He was BAMMA world champ. I don't know if you can remember what BAMMA was.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
BAMMA was huge back in the day, and I'll never forget it. I literally just finished a pasty, and then I read this message like, "Oh fuck!" And so I was like, "Right, listen, I'm on my way home." I was on my way home. I do scaffolding part-time, and I was on my way home, and I was like, "Just give me 10 minutes, mate, and I'll check my weight, and I'll get back to you." Within 5 minutes, I'm home, check my weight, I'm 9 kilos over. So I've got 6 days to drop 9 kilos. I'm like, against Mike Shipman, an absolute stud. And do you know what? I just thought, I hadn't fought in 12 months, where I had visa issues. I was meant to be on Bellator Chicago, but my visa didn't come through and things like that. And the one before that didn't happen because I missed weight by a kilo. So I had a rough year before that, where with fights were falling through, and this bullshit was happening. And then I thought, this is Sod's Law, and then you get offered Shipman on 6 days. Fuck's sake, if I thought, well, if I say no, how long am I going to be out for again? I went, life's a gamble, fuck it, why not, let's go. Looking back, I don't regret that gamble at all. I just fucking wish I had more time. If I had a bit more time, like, I would have even just been a bit more fitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give a good account for myself. I would have preferred it, but I don't regret my decision. It was a gamble, and not many people would step in against Shipman on 6 days' notice. Shipman was training for that guy from Khabib's gym, Khabib's little mate, who's an undefeated wrestler. So they had a brilliant camp. So I was like up against it straight away. But yeah, no. So the first round, I didn't really do too much, really. I was not trying to rush because I knew I wasn't that fit. I was like, I don't want to burn out fucking first round.
Was it scheduled for 3 rounds or 5?
3 5s, yeah. So I was like, take your time, big guy, it's a big guy. And I was thinking, it fade a bit in the second because it cut a lot of weight. And he was fucking hitting me. And that was the first real big middleweight I've ever fought. And I was like, fuck, yeah, I knew I was right. I'm not a middleweight. It sort of felt like I was getting hit by a double-decker bus. The shots, anyway. Anyway, I was taking them all right. It was when we got into the grappling, that's what really threw me, because I grapple here with guys at 105, 110, black belts, brown belts, sick, and I do all right with them. But he sort of just, I remember he had an underhook and I did, and he just sort of moved me and run me against the wall like I was a kid. And I was like, oh, that's why we have weight classes. He took me down, I got back up, and then he illegally kneed me, carried on. But it was just, it was a shit one. But some people were saying there was 12 to 6 elbows, but I lost, and that's it.
Because the knee was a funny one, wasn't it? Your knee was down and you was coming up. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it was like a knee's a downed opponent, isn't it?
They call it as a downed opponent if like there's fucking hell, like
anything other than soles of your feet. I think.
Basically, yeah. It's a real funky rule. If you can knee stand up, why can't you knee to the ground?
Yeah.
I think they're bringing it in January. I think they're scrapping that rule.
I think it's November. I think November it comes in.
Okay,
I think the 12 to 6 goes away and all that
Yeah, I
shit.
think it's a good thing, mate, because it's so confusing and it's the foggy rule, isn't it?
It's a grey area, so you can game it, can't you? You see people insert, and I think in the UFC you watch it sometimes. It's different states are slightly different.
That's how Sterling
rules.
won the belt. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was like,
terrible decision. You can't, like, to me, no contest at best. And you
no contest at best. You can't win a
a
world title like that.
No.
But he won. And fair play to Shipman. He was a nice guy, and he's fighting on the same night as me. He's got a good fight. So, yeah, it's just one of them ones. I just wish I had more time, mate.
6 days is tough. What do them 6 days look like?
Fuck me, they were rough. They were.
Yeah.
No carbs for 6 days. Sauna suits on, AM, PM, hot baths and shit. You know what I mean? I think I dropped in my first workout 4 kilo.
Oh, right, okay.
And then so I was just like, it was coming down, but it was a tough little cut in 6 days. Just where I was unfit, drinking.
Yeah.
And messing around and eating cake, mate.
Eating a pasty when you get a phone call. And when do you go to Paris for that? Because like 6 days before, you're pretty much straight there.
So it was a Friday afternoon, and I think I was flying on a Tuesday. Yeah.
Straight there.
Crazy, mate. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
But that, it's like you said, isn't it? Yeah. Take a chance, and if it had paid off, it'd have been a big one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd been like, well, yeah, see, do you know what I mean? I told you so. It's worth the gamble. But you win some, you lose some. We crack on, eh? I'm not going to sit here and make all these excuses underneath the sun. He won fair and square.
And at the end of the day, you try. Who cares, right?
Who cares?
You try.
I gave it a go against a fucking OG, man. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones, but we go again.
Yeah, because what's his record? He's like 16-5 or something crazy, and he's like got a long old record.
20 odd fights.
Yeah.
Between me and you, I think he beat Fabian. If you go on YouTube and watch that fight, I think he beat Fabian.
Yeah.
Fabian won a split.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it, I thought Shipman won it, to be fair, but...
Mate, like you said, all the way back to amateur boxing days, all the way up to the top level, you get some terrible decisions.
Mate,
There was a judge that got took off the UFC. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see the judge that got took off at the weekend for
Thai? He done one fight and they're like, go and have the rest of the night.
That'll do for you. Yeah. Hit the showers, kid, because for anyone who doesn't know, he scored the Tai Tuivasa bout, which he lost all 3 rounds for Tai, which is like, you got to go, mate. It's time to hit the showers, I think.
It's scary, like, going to... referee's decision.
Well, I can't work out what the deal is with the judges because it's a boxing system, obviously, and I want to get into this
system,
as well with the scoring. I ask a lot of people. I've got my opinion and tell me what you think. But the decision sometimes, I don't think they train. I don't think they do any of that stuff. I don't know what the qualification process is, but they seem like they just get thrown. Adelaide Bird, bless her heart, is the one, isn't she, the famous one that scores all the bouts wrong, and she still gets still gets things.
It is a rough gig being a judge or a ref, isn't it? Like, stop it too early, stop it too late. What'd you give that score to?
Yeah.
It is a rough game, but some of the decisions are like, whoa, what was you watching?
Well, here's what I think about scoring too, and tell me what you think. I think sometimes, if you watch the fight, the 10-point must system makes sense for boxing because it's a bit more... I don't want to say a game, it's not, but do you know what I mean? It's a bit more of a sport.
You're trying to tag each other.
And you're trying to... It's different, do you know what I mean? Whereas in MMA, I think... And again, this is a bit old school. Firstly, I'd get rid of rounds now, and I'd just have a 15-minute fight, and then I wouldn't score it in points. I would just at the end because this hit home for me.
Love that.
Do you know entity grappling thing? So it's a grappling thing. It was Apex. I was lucky enough. Shout out to the Ronin. He invited me. I was commentating it, and it was it was all referee's decision. So a 5-minute match. Who won? He won. And some of them were close, and you could see the ref was a little bit like this one. And it was, to me, why not score a fight like that?
Yeah.
Who won? Do you know what I mean? And
the whole no round thing is brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I love that.
I think that's great.
I think they still do it in Japan a bit, where they do like, I think it's Ryzen. The first round is 10 minutes.
10 minutes like they used to do in Pride, wouldn't it?
Have a break and then have 5. But 9 times out of 10, 90% of the fights don't go past 10.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think could happen. I think you'd get a lot more stoppages because people are thinking, fuck, I don't want to be... Like, again, with your last bout, you've got a big guy in front of you. I don't want to be here for 15 minutes.
No. I think that's brilliant, mate. I think, take the rounds away and have it as one 15-minute fight if you make it out of there or not.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
There you go.
I think it's brilliant.
Maybe we'll get the Squeeze the Neck podcast MMA organisation and get some no-rounded fights on.
Let's go. It's the way.
But for me, with the scoring too, if me and you watch a fight, let's say me and you in a match now, we go for it, for 10, 12 minutes, one of us is on top, right? But then the last 3 minutes, it turns the tide. It goes to point. There's no points in our thing, but it goes to the decision.
Yeah.
That 3 minutes should weigh more heavy to me. And tell me what you think, and I'll tell you my reasoning behind it. Yes or no?
What you think the last 3 minutes weighs the heaviest?
I think so. And the only reason why is because, again, if we look at it like a real fight, if what you did,
you finished on top, basically. I know what you mean.
It wasn't so significant what the first person did because I'm still here.
I get your point. And in a real life scenario, well, no one will pull you off and you would be on top. I understand. But if, say, we had a 15-minute round and it was no judges, but, you've got to judge it somehow at the end, and say I was on you for 12 and you on me for 3, I feel like I won that.
Yeah.
But I get your point as well. Well, hang on a minute, I finished on top. In a real life scenario, I don't know.
This is why I don't like points, because I agree with you to an extent as well. It's not as clear cut as he finished on top because I can hide for 14 and a half minutes and I'll tag you in the last.
It's a hard
Nate
one.
Diaz, Leon Edwards is a good example, right? Where he tagged him right at the end and I don't think he won by any means. But what I'm saying is like, if we're not scoring it on points and we just watch it, me and you are watching it, it's over there. Who do you think won? I think he won. Yeah, me too. Boom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? More of an opinion-based thing.
I always go on the guy who's more dominant.
That's what.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What did we watch that? Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards a couple of weeks ago, and you remember just at the end, Leon would keep reversing it, the position for the last 5 seconds, and then someone would be like, whoa, I don't know about that round. I'd be like, mate, for 4 minutes,
he was getting
you're getting dominated. Like, it's got to be Belal Muhammad's, but it's a, like, look, we're debating about it now. It's such a tricky.
It is tricky.
Thing to, I don't know if they'll ever solve it, mate.
No, but I think that's a nice way to do it. Just as like, who won? He did. Boom.
I agree. No, I agree.
Because there's some good fights coming up as well. Like we just had, the Leon Edwards Bilal one.
Yeah.
That took me by surprise. I didn't think Bilal had a prayer in that fight. To be honest.
Same as.
I didn't think they was going to go.
I thought Leon was just going to sail right through that one.
Yeah. And here's another thing. I've spoke about this before, so apologies, but with the Leon Edwards one, if you saw in the build-up, he was talking about he's done this right, he's done a sleep coach, sometimes, now it's not my place to tell him how to prepare for a fight, but sometimes I think you just overcomplicate things, right? Just get ready for a fight.
Definitely.
Just get ready for a fight.
Definitely, yeah. As human beings, we like to overcomplicate everything.
Did you hear Tom Aspinall as well, who was on the card, obviously? He said he had a chat with Michael Bisping on the day, and Michael Bisping was like, when I did it, I just had a nap in the afternoon. He was like, I'll do that then. Just took it as simple as that.
As simple as that, yeah. I actually watched Bisping in Manchester at 5 a.m.
Oh, you was there?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was there like VIP. It was fucking sick.
Brilliant.
2016, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, sick, man. It was unreal. But at like 5 a.m.
It's tough, isn't it? You're almost better off getting up for it.
I know.
But as a fan, like get up at 4 in the morning and go.
100%. But we for sure can overcomplicate shit. Sometimes you just need to train, mate. Just train, be as fit as you possibly can, and everything else will just come into place. Don't think about it. Just go in there and do your shit.
Yeah, you do it every day anyway, don't you?
Yeah, you do it every day. Like my little boy competed on the weekend in grappling in Eastbourne, and he started getting a bit nervous. It's like, it's just a normal round, son, just with a ref.
Yeah.
Just a normal round, just with a ref. You know.
That's good. Yeah.
But it's hard to do though because we all feel a bit of anxiety and shit, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if you can overcome it, it's that's the goal.
Well, it's good as a dad that you like just have fun, because how many times have you been to grappling tournaments and you've seen kids there and their dad's never grappled a day in his life and he's giving them advice and pressure and do this and do. And it's like, bro.
Not just that, mate. Like not just dads. Some of the people and stuff they're saying and that. I'm like, oh no. I feel bad for them, but they've got to say something, can they? know
I think that's what it is. Sometimes they just feel like they've got to say something.
Say something.
Grab his neck.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it is what it
Yeah,
is.
grab something.
Yeah. Squeeze him. I don't know. Yeah, but it's,
bless him.
And your son, is this the 11-year-old son, is it, that's doing the grappling?
Yeah,
Good on him. And
yeah.
did he win? Did he win the tournament?
Nah, he got bronze, bless him.
Oh, that's all right, that'll do.
But they were, in his defence, there were 2 like belts above. Yeah, so.
There you go. Because the kids' belts is tricky, isn't it? Like,
It's tricky.
And from I think it's, you go straight to blue belt, right? You've had the kids' belts and then it's like.
Yeah, I think so. If you're like a
16
certain,
blue belts.
is it orange or whatever it is?
It's either orange or green as the top belt,
yeah.
isn't it? One of them.
And then when you're 16, you go straight to blue. Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a kid I train with. I think he's 17 now. He's got his blue belt. But me and him started jiu-jitsu like the same sort of week. But I was, in my 20s and he was 6 or whatever it was.
It's mental, really, because that's 10 years.
Yeah.
So really, you know what I mean? It's probably black belt level, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's amazing to see. It's good to see jiu-jitsu grow. It's huge now. When I started doing it, it weren't that cool.
Yeah, it was different. I started in 2014 and it was like very, very different. It was
It was.
Like I'd go to a class and it'd be like, if there was a blue belt in the class, it'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like the coach is a black belt, but like.
And I remember I'd go to comps and I'd see a black belt. You'd see 1 or 2 black belts and you'd be like, whoa, that's a unicorn. You know what I mean? It's everywhere now. It is good to see it. It's growing.
Yeah.
And these shows are popping up now. I've got I'm not looking past Bellator London, but I've got Naga the week after. I'm going to do that.
Oh, what, the week after?
The week after, yeah.
I'm assuming you're not worried about weight for that one.
Nah, I'm just going to do whatever.
Open weight.
Yeah, I'm just going to do whatever. And then a week after that, I've got that Alpha Grappling Championships in North London, I think it is. Combat Jiu-Jitsu match.
Oh, nice. And you're still heavily, and Bellator's obviously happy for you to just do
Yeah,
what you want.
yeah,
That's
they
cool,
can do
isn't it?
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you ever worry about that, like twisting your toe up or?
So I won't do anything like 8 weeks before.
Okay.
But after, I'll be like, let's go and compete.
Is that
You know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
I like to compete as much as possible.
Yeah. Do you find it helps your MMA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the competition side of it. Forget what it is.
For me, it helps me loads with my nerves and how I carry myself and things like that. Because it's similar. Competing's all similar. Obviously, MMA is there's a lot more consequences. It could go badly wrong and stuff, but it's still I find anyway. Only an opinion. I find it helps me with my state of mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you do any striking for competition or not?
No, I used to do the odd K1 bout, but they were talking 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk, no, and you're getting banged up for 100 quid. I'm like, nah.
Right, yeah.
Whereas jiu-jitsu comps, you know what I mean? He's not
if
getting...
you go and spar with someone, aren't you? You get
Yeah, you're not getting banged up, are you? So,
No.
But, I love to compete jiu-jitsu. Like, if you used to say to me, like, you got, I couldn't fight MMA anymore for some weird reason, I'd be gutted, but I'd still be fighting jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Do you do mostly no-gi competition?
Nowadays, yeah, when I was white and blue, I'd fight in a gi. And even purple, I'd fight in a gi. But nowadays, because I fight MMA all the time, it's not really...
That makes sense. Do you train in the gi?
Well, once a week.
Oh, you do still?
Once a week.
Nice.
I try it once a week, yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes twice, but mainly once a week. You got to keep it real, bro.
That's it. Yeah, just in case someone attacks you in a leather jacket, yeah. Okay, yeah. But what's coming up in the UFC, mate, that entertains you, or Bellator, whatever? But the big ones, because there's a few questions I want to ask you with it. But you tell me first, mate. What fights are coming up that excite you?
To be honest, I don't really get that excited about other fights.
Do you watch other fights, or are you
I did do, but I'm 31 now, and I've been in combat since I was 12. Like, I've got to be really into a fight to watch it.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm looking forward to the Bellator card, the rest of the Bellator card. Fabian Edwards versus Johnny Eblen 2. That's a great fight. Mate, that's about it, really.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to, that's a lie. I'm looking forward to Hamzat Whitaker.
Here we go.
And
Here we go.
And that's it, really.
Do you think, firstly, before you give a prediction, do you think he makes it to the fight, Hamzat? Because he pulls out a lot, doesn't he?
Fucking who knows? I hope so. It'd be nice to see him again. But Whitaker's a dog, mate. He's skillful.
He is.
He struggled a bit with Burns, and that was welterweight, Hamzat. And I want it against a good middleweight.
Yeah. Is that because of the weight cut, though, do you think?
Yeah, definitely plays a factor. And just middleweights are bigger blokes in general.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference.
And it's a big difference, isn't it? I think
it does make a huge difference. Yeah, 100%. And Whitaker's so skillful everywhere. It's just a great fight.
Yeah.
I'm not counting Hamzat out, definitely, but it's a great fight.
Oh, do you think Whitaker? Are you leaning towards Whitaker?
bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
that'd
know
be
why.
interesting. I feel like Hamzat's holding himself up there. Do you know what I mean? Like he was on a roll, wasn't he? And now it seems like he's sort of
Got ill, didn't he? Then he got that long COVID stuff,
Yeah.
and then there was like some political shit where he went out of Russia. Yeah. Remember that?
Well, yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
and-
Well, they said as well, I was listening to a podcast about him recently, I think it was Bisping's podcast, he was talking about his coaches have spoke publicly that when he starts with the long COVID thing, he was talking about when he starts cutting weight too low,
Gets
it sort
ill,
of
doesn't
comes
he?
back and it is
Yeah.
whatever, which could be an issue. You know.
I had a good friend like that in Brighton, really good fighter, John Hathaway.
I don't know him, but
Really
I know
good
who
fighter.
he is. He was UFC, wasn't he?
Trained him a little bit, yeah. And I'll speak to him and stuff like that. Bless him. I don't want to misquote this, but every time he'd train really hard, he'd get ill again. And
Is that right?
Yeah, I think he had colitis or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the same as Hamzat's, but that just shows you the wear and tear on the body you go through in a camp.
And is he retired now? Is he Hathaway?
I don't know.
Because he was UFC and he was like, doing it, wasn't he?
It's weird. I think he still got some fights left in his contract in the UFC, but then he went to Octagon, done really well in Octagon. I think he had 3 fights or something, won 2, lost 1, I think. I don't know what's going on with John now, but I see him the other day competing. Who's he competing? That catch wrestling. He won in that. I think he won that. I was up in Wigan. So he's still competing, but I don't know about MMA anymore.
Because he's another big lump, right? I've seen him in person. Like I don't know him
massive
personally,
for
but
welterweight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's another
tall
one.
fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, great guy, good grappler, good fighter, just a fucking stud, mate.
Yeah. He's still young enough, right? If he wants to have a run, isn't he?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's got to be mid-30s.
Is he? Yeah, yeah.
For me, that's enough time.
It's prime, really. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I
If you've
think,
looked
so.
after
I think
yourself.
so, yeah. I think so. I feel like everyone's like, oh, you're not in your 20s. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. As someone who's
All in
coming
the
into
person,
their
isn't
mid-30s,
it?
Yeah.
All in the person. Like, if you fucking spent your whole 20s at festivals getting peeled up, sniffed up, drinking every single weekend, probably not.
Yeah, well, exactly. It can be wear and tear at that age
Yeah.
too. And I think that's what gets a lot of people when they get to the mid-30s, is the niggling injuries you don't take care of. You know, you've got a busted ankle and then that turns into a sore hip and a sore shoulder.
And we all have them. I don't care who you are, you have something.
Yeah, you've got to take care of
Because
it.
when you go and when you swim, you get wet. It's the same as fighting, the same as jiu-jitsu. Everyone I talk to, their fingers are fucked, or their hip, knee. Someone's got something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just blind as a bat.
You don't need your eyes in fighting, do you?
No, just
Feel it
fucking
out,
feel
grapple
it out,
someone.
yeah.
But if we was to go to sort of like the big boys, like the Aspinalls and that, because everyone's talking about it, so we might as well talk about it here.
Yeah.
With Aspinall, well, forget Aspinall for a second. We've got John Jones fighting Stipe Miocic. What do you think about that one before we get on to what happens next?
I think John Jones runs through Stipe,
Yeah.
and then Aspinall, John Jones. My heart, I want Aspinall.
Yeah.
I just think John Jones is like the LeBron James of fighting.
Is John Jones the greatest of all time?
I think so.
Yeah, I do. After his last one, especially
I
when he
think so.
fought Cyril.
Inside the cage, how can you know,
Undefeated, which is
how
nuts.
do you question it? Outside the cage, maybe not the nicest of guy. I don't know.
Maybe not the nicest of fellas,
Yeah.
but he can fight, man.
He can fight.
he can fight,
He
man.
can fight. My heart, I say Aspinall, but my brain says Jones. If it ever happens, I've got a funny feeling it won't ever happen.
Well, that was my next question. Yeah, so after
Yeah.
this, I could see them both retiring. But
Yeah,
I think
same.
now with Aspinall as holding the belt, I think John Jones has kind of got fighting, hasn't he? Like, if
He's
you
got
don't,
to, but John Jones is clever.
He is, but
Why
if
would
you
you want to
don't,
throw that whole, not whole career, but
but it tarnishes
to
it if you
lose,
lose
to
it.
tarnish it and lose it right at the end
Yeah.
there.
But at the same time, if you don't fight him now, I think
know.
that tarnishes it. You kind of
Yeah,
got to fight.
that'll always hang over you.
Because it's like,
what
what are you
if
fighting?
Aspinall? What if
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean? So
And here's my thing, because I was with you 100%, like John Jones is the greatest of all time. John Jones would beat Aspinall. But when I saw his last one, Aspinall, I was like, shit, man. Like, he keeps doing it over and over. I go, he might get John Jones early. He might run him over and get him out of there.
he's good enough, isn't he? And I'd love it.
Big enough as well. He's fucking
yeah,
massive.
he's big boy, and he's fucking fast, man.
Yeah.
So fast for a heavyweight. Yeah, heart says Aspinall. I think if it does happen, I just think Jones is too good.
Yeah.
I don't think Jones would stand in front of him. Excuse me, I think Jones would take him down and make it real ugly.
I mean, if John Jones was to beat Aspinall, I don't think you can really argue about him being the greatest of all time then, can you?
Nah, you
think
couldn't.
that's it.
You couldn't. But
Shut the
people
book.
will always fucking argue, though. won't
They'll
they?
always argue. Because
It's
I
like,
thought Khabib was the greatest until John Jones went up to heavyweight.
Yeah.
And how easily, and people
Oh,
say what they
mate.
want about Cyril's grappling.
Yeah.
The way he beat him like I'd beat a 12-year-old.
Just dismantled him, didn't he? When the first round, it was, yeah. I wish. Yeah, I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but I just can't see it happening. Do you know what I mean? I feel like John Jones is too clever. I think he runs through Stipe, closes the chapter on that, and sails off into sunset.
Well, it's a hard ask, isn't it, to beat John Jones? I mean,
Light heavyweight champ, I'm out of here.
yeah. Well, the other asterisk by that, and the other one I'll insert into the conversation is Alex Pereira.
Oh,
Because
chummer.
Mate, Chalmer, I want to see him go up to heavyweight too.
Yeah, man.
Well, what Aspinall said when he won his last fight at the press conference, I don't know if you saw it.
That two-man thing in one night.
But then he quickly sort of... and I'm assuming the UFC said, shut the fuck up, mate. Here's your money, and we'll figure this out down the road. But I'd like to see it. Why not?
Yeah, it'd be sick, mate. And they haven't done them like tournament things in ages, have they? Years. No. Piera, wow. What a fucking hell. What a stud. I see him put a picture up the other day where he wants to go back down the middle again.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that. I've seen that now.
Yeah.
I want to see you keep starching guys at light heavy or maybe even heavy.
Go up, I want to see it. If you can like get the third belt, I know that's a huge ask.
Yeah.
But like, if John Jones is retiring, it's a bit of a clearer path, isn't it? I mean, I know he's got a big ask in front of him in Tom Aspinall, who's probably going to take the throne one way or the other, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because even if, let's just say he fought
That's
John
what
Jones.
I reckon will happen. John Jones will retire, kick Stipe's ass, no disrespect, and he retire and Aspinall will win the belt against someone else.
But even if John Jones beats Aspinall and then retires, he's going to retire then, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like, if he retired then...
He's actually openly said he's only 1 or 2 away.
That's what I'm saying. So if he beats Aspinall, retires, Aspinall's probably going to get the belt anyway. Who else is going to beat Aspinall?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Or he's at least fighting for it, isn't he?
It's a hard sell. Who would you have Aspinall for the belt?
It's a bit like the Cyril Gane one, though, isn't it? He just lost to Ngannou and then he fought John Jones.
I so wish, so good that in PFL I've got Ngannou, but there were so many fights left there. I might get in trouble for saying that. There were so many more fights left in UFC for Ngannou.
Yeah.
Like, you would like to see.
Massively, yeah.
Could you imagine John Jones and Ngannou?
Mate,
that'd be sick, wouldn't it?
Ngannou Aspinall.
That'd break a few fucking pay-per-view gates, wouldn't it?
Mate,
surely.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it's a
Pierre
shame.
Ngannou. Could you imagine that shit?
Mate,
that's just fairy tale stuff, isn't it?
Well, it's a shame in a lot of ways that he fought Joshua. I know he got paid, so it's life-changing. You can't, obviously. But when he fought Tyson Fury, I think he beat Tyson Fury. Yeah. And I'm a big Tyson Fury fan, but call it what it is. Yeah. If he'd have left boxing alone then, he'd have this sort of like mythical sort of like
cool,
thing with
and his story, they've got to make a film about it.
Yeah.
Have you heard about his story?
Yeah, oh mate, when he come over and like got caught on the boat
like
7
10 times. Yeah,
crazy,
it's unreal,
crazy
isn't it?
Story, yeah.
Unreal, like. Yeah,
he's just lost his son as well, hasn't he? So mate, that's a hard time. Like, I don't, and he's in his late 30s, I think. Like, how much does he want? He's rich as fuck now. Like, things change a bit.
I know the heavyweights always they go a bit longer.
Yeah, they do.
For some reason, the heavyweights go a bit longer. Do you know what I mean? Bigger
I wonder as well with the boxing, because he done his ACL, didn't he, before the Cyril Gane or whatever it was, and he's had a knee surgery. He got through that fight, and since that he's boxed. Now, part of me goes obviously the money, but like, is there something up with that knee? Is he sort of cashing out? Do you know what I mean? Like, because you can box a bit easier than you could grapple with a bad knee.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was that sort of I'll give this a couple of years?
Yeah.
Because now he's fighting a 6'8". I don't know the guy's name. I keep forgetting the name. Brazilian guy.
Is it Santos?
Is it Santos?
Something like that.
Is probably. He's Brazilian, right?
Yeah.
But he's, I mean, what's this guy like? Do you know much about him being in PFL?
He's a wrecking ball.
I've seen him fight. I've seen highlights. I haven't seen him fight.
He's humongous.
Yeah.
Knocking people about and stuff. But it's Ngannou, man, isn't it?
Special guy, Ngannou.
Yeah, he's got to touch you once. And that's
it.
it.
He might miss you and the wind might blow you over.
Jesus.
Because he cuts as well to the weight, doesn't he? Like,
you wouldn't want one of them on the chin, would you? I would not want one of them on the chin, I'll tell you that.
That's you don't want the Ngannou fight down the road then?
No, I'm good.
Don't fancy going up?
Actually...
£2 million guarantee, innit?
Well, if you were to chuck £2 million at me, I'd literally run for my life into a double or a single leg.
£2 million, I don't think there's anyone that's ever lived I wouldn't fight for £2 million, right?
You know that.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. 2 million? Come on.
Yeah. You know you're getting CTE though.
I do. I'll take that. You know I'll have 60 good years on this earth, and that'll do me with my 2 million. But yeah, before we wrap up, mate, we've already touched on football. We always have a bit of fun with people. We spoke Tottenham, man.
I know, yeah.
Come on, son.
It's a rough deal,
Where did that come from?
My old man was Tottenham. And,
okay, all right, okay, it's a good reason. I'll give you that.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to never forget. I was like, Dad, I want a football shirt. When I was a kid, he's like, I'll get you a football shirt. And he got me a Spurs one. Like, the amount of bullying I got for that.
Yeah. Was this in Hastings as well?
Yeah, probably call it banter now, but yeah. And he just, I don't know, over the years, just felt some sort of loyalty to him, some stupid football loyalty.
That's the way to do it, though. You have to. I mean? You have to. Once you've got a team, that's your team for life.
Yeah, that's it, innit? But yeah, I said to my son, you support whoever you want, mate. Don't get stuck with Spurs.
Yeah, support a real team, yeah.
It's just like a lifetime full of pain.
Has he got a team, your son?
He likes Liverpool.
Oh, mate, that's even worse. What's going on in that house over there?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Bring him down, we'll have a chat with him. We'll get him right.
Yeah, definitely.
But who's the team down here, like this part of the world? Is it Brighton took over now?
Brighton, innit?
Because, they're a team now, aren't they?
Before that, I think it was like Palace, closest to us.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Palace
yeah,
was the team.
South
That's
London,
yeah, that's interesting. Because it's still quite far, isn't it?
Yeah. What's South London?
2 hours. I mean,
2
I'm
hours.
southwest London,
Yeah,
Palace is southeast,
yeah,
so it's about
yeah.
2 hours. But like when I did school down here, as I said to you before, not here, in Eastbourne. I went, my last 3-4 years of secondary school was in Eastbourne. I'm from London originally,
Yeah.
so I already had Chelsea and stuff.
Yeah,
But you come
yeah.
down here, it was Man United at the time. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
mate,
mean?
it's crazy. Like, we live on the coast
Yep.
of the country,
Yep.
and it's all United fans.
Everyone was Man United.
Man
few
United or Arsenal
Yeah.
in my school.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
like,
it.
You can't, you know, even that,
Yeah.
whatever. you
Well, I
know.
had one friend, shout out Lee Cornford, if you watch this, mate. He's a proper Brighton fan.
Yeah.
And his dad was a Brighton fan.
That's cool, man. I like
and
that.
they was like playing at the Withdene in front of like 10 people.
Yeah.
And he was a season ticket holder, like a
Yeah,
lunatic.
that's
And like, I
fucking
remember
cool.
someone playing football with him and going, who do you support? He said Brighton. He said, yeah, but who do you properly support? And he was like, no, Brighton.
Yeah,
like, Brighton
yeah.
was it. And now he's reaping the benefits, isn't he?
Fucking won 3-0, didn't they, on the weekend?
That's it, mate, yeah.
Yeah.
And they beat Chelsea in their time as well, which is no good for me. But shout out Brighton and Lee Cornford. But anything else you want to plug, mate, before we get on? We put anything in the description you want?
Nah, mate. September 14th, Bellator London.
Bosh, you
Here we
heard
go.
it here first. Nice one, mate. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
bud.
you doing
Appreciate
this,
it.
mate.
Nah, no
I always
problem.
finish with people like this. Fist up, squeeze the neck. Bosh!